Welcome, everyone. It's a Wrap with Rap. I am your host, Ron Rappaport. Before we start, I would like to thank all our listeners, sponsors, and supporters that have helped to make the podcast so successful. The podcast is being heard in all 50 states, all provinces of Canada, and 45 countries around the world. The podcast has been ranked by FeedSpot as one of the top 35 overcoming adversity podcasts on the web in that category. And ranking is determined by traffic, social media followers, and content freshness. Please visit the podcast website, itsawrapwithrap.com, for all the episodes and other information regarding the podcast. This podcast features people who have overcome life's challenges and adversities, people who can inspire, motivate, and educate us on an assortment of topics. My guest today is Tom Exler. Tom was born with a rare birth defect called bladder exstrophy, meaning his bladder was turned inside out. In 1969, just before his 4th birthday, Tom had urostomy surgery. Now, shortly after his surgery, his mother and surgeon founded the Children's Tri-State Ostomy Association, serving Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia, the first organization in the world dedicated to helping parents of children with an ostomy. Now, Tom was closely involved in the organization and grew up surrounded by other children facing serious health issues. Tom didn't ask to have a stoma, but he is living proof that it doesn't have to stop anyone from doing what they want to do. He is here today to share his story and life journey. Mm-hmm. Welcome, Tom, to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Ron.
Oh, my pleasure. I want our audience to know what this is all about, because I think we were talking offline, and I never really heard about it. So I'm very interested, and I'm sure they will be too. First, for everyone out there, let's start with what most people do not know or never heard of. What is bladder exstrophy? And instead of saying bladder exstrophy the whole time, let's call it BE. Is that okay?
That's fine.
And the life expectancy, tell us of the life expectancy of babies born with it and the cause of it.
Well, that changes over the years. Now, it's a birth defect that is not genetic. It is a spontaneous malformation. There's very few that they can contribute to being genetic in the world. And my family was one of the 8 families in the world that they thought might have been genetic, but they can't prove it.
Okay.
Because when I was born, I had a second cousin born 2 weeks apart with bladder exstrophy, and that's a very rare occurrence.
Yeah.
So it's a birth defect that's your abdomen's open at birth, so you can have it all the way from the bladder. From the epispadias, which is the penis part, that's open all the way up to your intestines are on the outside of birth too. So that can be a multiple birth defect. Bladder exstrophy in the bladder we're talking about, it's just a bladder. It's inside out at birth. It's also open, and at that time when I was born, the only option was to remove them, and you have to live with urostomy. Today, they can put the bladder back in, and actually, maybe at the worst, make it a vessel where they would catheterize into it.
No, that's a lot better. Yeah. Now, how often does it happen in birth?
It's 1 in 30,000 live births. Now,
1 in 30,000.
Yeah,
wow.
There might be 20,000, might be 40,000, but it's the best estimate's 1 in 30,000.
And what if a parent, the parents have another child? Does the chances of it go up?
No, it's the chances are it will be higher for the next child. Yes, that is true. Yeah. However, that could only be statistically an anomaly. It could be the parents are actually, how many parents actually would have another kid at the time. Now today we have multiple kids, and it's last I heard was like 1 in 287, but I'm looking at that's still under 1%.
And what if one of the parents has it and then they have a child?
Yeah, that's about 1 in 80. However, like I said, the problem is the statistics were created when people didn't have kids. So
Yeah.
it's coming up that they're having kids now. So I would not consider that as a problem not to have a kid.
Okay. Now,
It's still under 1%.
what about the ratio? I mean, is it more males, females?
It's 2 to 1 males to females. So it'd
Two to
be
one
two,
males.
yeah. However, we talk about on the web and and when I was at the youth rally, the idea there was always more females would outrepresent the males. So it's
Okay.
just but that's probably about the way it is in almost every field.
What is there any genetic testing that you can go uh through with this and maybe get an idea? If
No, not really, because it's
Oh,
more spontaneous than anything else.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Is the condition of BE visible in an ultrasound?
Yes, it is now for the like last 15, 20 years. They can diagnose it with an ultrasound. However, there are cases that even now that they don't diagnose it with an ultrasound.
Okay. So when it happens, it happens. It's a surprise.
Right. But I mean, like I said, there's far more cases that they do diagnose it with an ultrasound, and they know where to go and where the center to be at. And there's probably a good 7 centers in the United States.
Okay, for our audience, what is an ostomy? What is that?
Yeah. An ostomy is an opening with an intent. Usually, we're talking about an abdominal ostomy, which is an intestinal or urinary. Intestinal ostomy, which would be like a colostomy, an opening of the large colon
Okay.
that comes in the outside to a pouch, or an ileostomy, which is an opening of the ileum to the outside to a pouch. However, a urostomy takes a piece of ileum and they hook the ureters to it, and then it comes to the outside to a pouch in which the urine will flow through it. So it's hard to describe, when you're telling you that stuff. There is a thing here. The United Ostomy Association wrote, an ostomy surgery is a life-saving procedure. Well, in my case, it's not a life-saving procedure because it was a birth defect. So this was this procedure where it was a life enhancement.
Right.
So they say it's a surgically created stoma on the abdomen. Well, a stoma it basically it's a mouth. So the mouth opening.
Okay.
And it's a flow you flow the fluid to the outside. And that's where urostomy is.
Okay.
So,
Tell us what the risk factors are for this, for BE.
for the risk factors, there really
Yeah.
isn't risk factors.
No?
Like I said again, it's there is a couple risk factors. One, their parents are usually older, and two, they did find on uh, in vitro fertilization, people that are having vitro fertilization, there is a higher risk of having extrophy kids. They did find that out in research when they find out there was so many kids coming, there was the in vitro fertilization.
So
So that is
we have in vitro and then we have
yeah.
family history. What about race, sex, that type of thing?
See, that has not been really diagnosed. There is a higher issue in some areas, but it's more might be environmental than sex ratio or race ratio. Uh, there is a they do a couple of cases overseas in like in India, for example, where
Yeah.
there's a big influx, but that also could be the population. It may not be the influx of the patient. So I don't. I think whatever you're going to say it'd be minuscule if it's going to make a difference.
What are the problems of BE that could be the cause to the body in a severe state of it? So is there severe states and less severe states? Well, what is the severest problems that BE could cause?
Well, it's not the problem of the BE, but it's the way you handle it afterwards. So the worst cases would be with just BE would be renal failure and having problems with your kidneys. And there has been multiple people who've actually had kidney transplants or other issues. But however, that's not like associated with exstrophy. That's the complications from the surgeries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, can you tell us about your specific journey growing up with BE, the effect on the family dynamics, school, jobs, that type of thing?
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, but I never let anything hold me back.
okay.
I played multiple sports growing up, and I played hockey and Gaelic football, um, the Irish game, Gaelic football,
Yeah.
the Rush
Yeah.
game. Yeah. So I was a goalie for that because my pelvis is, if you can see up in the picture, it's open. So
Right.
so because of that, I didn't have the speed to be able to be a field player. So
That makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I picked up as a goalie. Um, Now, interdimensions, my brothers and sisters, they never really understood why, because I was the oldest.
Yeah.
So they never understood why I had to go to the hospital that much. But I don't think there was overall family affected our family at all because it depends on how you handle it. Now, there's other families that will keep this all quiet. Well, I never could keep this quiet because my mother went on TV when I was 5
Yeah. Got you.
and
Yeah.
started talking about it.
Right.
So because she did that, it's I had to grow up with it with everything going on, and then she created this organization. I grew up with kids who had far more problems than I did. I mean, it was kids with spina bifida, it was kids with imperforaneous, uh, and Hirschsprung's disease. They had far more problems than with extrophy. And what I laugh about is we did the youth rally, which is a camp for kids, teenagers. They It was funny because we'd have what ulcerative colitis is and Crohn's.
Sure.
Yeah, they have those kids on this side, and extrophy kids on this side, and both saying the same thing. I'm glad I have this and not that, and
Yeah.
because
But
they all could see the problems, and they all have compassion for each other. So
yeah, and it must have been good for you. But tell us about this camp you're talking about.
yeah,
Who
yeah,
started that?
the youth rally is a program that used to be run by the United Ostomy Association. Now it's independent. The youth rally, and you can look it up at youthrally.org. I haven't been affiliated with it for many years, but at the site, we'd hold it on college campuses. One reason you hold these programs on college campus is because a lot of these kids never thought they could go to college. And when they go to college, I think really before you have to do that, they have to get on a plane and go fly across country. You know what that would cause for a parent to let the kid get on a plane,
Yeah.
especially one that's been sick. It's it's very rewarding because you get this. Um, they actually become real real initiative to go out and do this stuff. Especially since they go on the plane, it's that's just powerful when you're talking about it. Um, when they can fly by themselves and they're going, it's just so empowering. And then when they get to the rally, they get to meet all these kids. So I think they actually grow up a whole year in 5 days. That makes sense?
It does. And tell me, is BE, the people that have it, especially the kids,
Yeah.
is there a stigma to this? Do they feel like there's a stigma? Do they
I
kind of,
think I
do they
think
kind of keep quiet about it?
well, I think it also comes back to the parents. You
Okay.
know, it all depends on how you were raised because people, if they make it into a secret,
Yeah,
then it will become a secret.
right.
And if it's open, then you'll be able to handle it a lot better. Um,
Right.
the the patient, yeah, I would say there is a stigma, but I think the stigma would be the way you look at it. You have to look at yourself before you look at being able to get out there. And it's not not everyone's going to be able to teach you. You got to be able to understand. However, I will say this: when you think about this, it goes with everything across the board in medical. You don't advertise all your problems
Right.
with it because it's just in the way you think about it. Because it's a way you handle things that people might not they might not understand what you're going through. But
Mhm.
if you can handle it and you understand that you can become emotionally and environmentally helpful, it's a lot better in the long run.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I think
Uh,
that just applies to everyone. That doesn't apply to just BE.
yeah, yeah. Uh, Over the years, you have volunteered to help the BE cause. Tell us about what organizations or nonprofits you're affiliated with, and what was the spark to give you the idea to do it?
Yeah. Um, well, I was already with the United Ostomy Association at the time, and I developed the young adult and teenagers youth groups in that organization and the young adults conference in the United States. Um, just before that, going back a couple years, I was invited to the International Ostomy Association in Copenhagen, Denmark, and we had it again in 2001 in Hamilton, Ontario. And because everyone in this organ was of each country was leaders of the from their country, this was the best conference I've ever been to because you didn't have to go back to each one uh, having to do with the the issues on BE or with ostomies or with and trust me, when you're dealing with ostomy, you're dealing with multiple problems, and it's because we I have friends from that first conference still today from Norway, Denmark, uh, England, Germany, Australia. I can't even name all the countries because it, it was very empowering. So when I came back to the United States, they asked me to see if I could form the organization here. So that only lasted 2 years because the organization became a defunct. But it's it was very rewarding there. And then when that then the ABC or the Association of Bladder Exstrophy Community came to me and asked me to become the vice president of their organization. And then I started working with them and holding conferences and things like that. Um, but going back before then, it was we got into the first project with ABC back in 1996, I believe it was, where it was we wrote a book called Living with Bladder Exstrophy. and everyone had got a different section of the book. And I had this section for teenagers and young adults. I said, well, wait a second. I can't put my name to this because I have to get all the problems from everyone else because I didn't have enough, figured I had enough problems for me to write this.
Yeah.
So I took a composite of about 5 different people, interviewed them, and made into one person. So,
Okay.
and as I got involved with that, we did the conferences, and since then, I've went in 2010, 2009, 2000, I mean 2010, 2011, 2012. We went overseas, and I spoke in Australia, England, Iceland, Norway, Norway, Germany, and in Spain. So it's just because you get, it's hard to throw this all together real quick, but the idea is you when you get the idea that these kind of programs are these, you got to be able to show that your your um how was I going to say, but you got to show that, you got to show that leadership, and you show that you survived this, and how did you do it? And
Yeah.
that's what I did for years, and I've been involved for 20 years doing that kind of work.
How rewarding is it uh for you to talk to somebody who has BE, where you both share that same knowledge and that same experience? Like I'm involved with a male breast cancer
Yeah,
happens.org, and it's not like we can go next door and talk to somebody who has male breast cancer. There's only 2,500 diagnosed a year, so they're all spread out. But it's really great when you can get on Zoom or whatever and
right,
talk to people who have it. Uh, Same thing with you.
right. That is the same thing. I mean, I've got to remember, I started this before there was ever Zoom or anything,
Yeah, yeah,
and a lot of the stuff, because when I went to Iceland, I can tell you this just from Iceland, and I'm speaking in front of 10 people. Okay, that might not sound like a lot, but that's every single case in Iceland.
yeah,
Well, if I found out later that there's probably there's probably a problem. There's statistic there. They do have a spike, but there was 10 cases in the room in Iceland. There's only 300,000 people live in Iceland.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
so if you look at that, and that's really awarding. And then when we went to Spain, I have a young lady who speaks with me, and we were speaking in Spain, and of course this is being translated, so I don't think half the people even understood English. We actually, after we spoke, we both had to stand in line for pictures for over 30 minutes, and it was very rewarding
yeah.
when you think when you're thinking it's being translated. I'm not even sure if they understood this,
Right.
but it was actually very rewarding because in that environment.
Do you have support groups?
There are support groups, but they're the same way. They're virtual. You
Okay.
know, um, they're virtual and they're individual. There has been a young lady out in California who's actually trying to get um, Zoom calls done, and they've been getting like 20 people to come to each Zoom call, and I've been trying to get there every so often. However, we'll see how that goes. If it actually becomes a success, we'll actually advertise it. So,
I'm just curious on your support groups and when you get together with other people that have BE, uh, what is the biggest like common concerns that they have with the disease?
well, there's a lot of parents who just want to make sure my son or daughter are going to be okay, and and that's what I just like to tell them it's your son and daughter is going to be okay. It's going to be a long road, but they're going to be fine, and they're going to come. They're going to actually surprise you in the long run. And it's it's one of the very improvements that have been making is with the connections on the internet, and that's actually making people are popping out of the woodworks. And you probably noticed this with male breast cancer too. They're popping out everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there might only be 2,500, but there's probably 500 that are communicating.
Yeah.
And,
well, there's a big stigma with it, especially in certain populations.
yeah.
They don't even want to call it that. They call it by other names. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but they do.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Let me just go on the stigma. When we come over in the United States, and because I've done the youth rally and all the programs and the International Ostomy Association and everything like that, I've noticed that in the U.S. we seem like we actually have more. We talk about things more often than other people around the world, because I can say that because I've went to Australia. The problem there in Australia is they don't want to talk to each other. And then you think that's bad there? In Europe was the same way. Um,
Cultural differences.
oh,
Yeah.
the cultural difference is huge. Now, and I know the people when they go. I haven't been to Africa, but they go to Africa and they find out that's even worse there.
Yeah. We have the
Very
same problem.
culture. It's
Yeah.
very
Yeah, we have somewhat of the same problem.
And I think that's what we need. The United States need to break into.
So when you have the urostomy or the ostomy, that's for is that for life?
Unfortunately, in my case, it is. Yes.
Is it for most people?
Well, the urostomy, it is when they remove the bladder.
Okay.
Now they will if the bladder wasn't removed to begin with, then they can actually correct that. That depends on the tissue. Is it because when we had it, when I was born, they thought it would always be carotid. So I don't know if if that's going to be the case in the long run. And it's it's hard. It's hard. Every case is different. Okay, let me leave it at that. Every case is different.
Okay,
when you say there's no step one, step two, step three. They're all a variance of those steps.
Well, that's my next question.
Yeah.
Do the people in these groups, do they chat about, are they getting, is there concerns about the medical quality they're getting from the doctors? Does it vary a lot? In other words, could two people with the same situation actually have two different procedures done or different outcomes? Is that a problem?
Well, it is a problem depending on where you get it done.
Okay.
Depends on where you're being followed. The Association of Bladder Exstrophy Children have about 12 different for be excellence at care, basically centers of excellence. I mean,
yeah.
We did that about 5-6 years ago. To be able to have centers of excellence, and however, there are places that would not say are centers of excellence, but they may have good doctors there. And I think that the problem is with when they talk about exstrophy, you have to do so many percentage of cases a year on exstrophy. Well, that isn't that many cases. The leading place right now is like John Hopkins. They've done 1,500 cases. Well, that's over like 30 years. That's not a lot of cases.
No.
And that's probably the leading place in the world.
What is that, 50 cases a year?
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, but they're getting higher and higher cases. in the
Yeah.
last few years, but still, and you need to do it. Like
So
there,
what is a guy out in Podunk, you know?
well, before the internet, I think the guy in Podunk was out of luck. Uh,
Okay.
I mean, the problem is I was actually done at Children's Hospital Pittsburgh. Well, when I was done, there wasn't any specialists in the country. There was no one doing it, and my doctor decided to do the best for me by saving my kidneys. Everything else is fixable. We got to save the kidneys, and he's actually done a good job on that because I've never had any renal problems. So that's a good thing.
What kind of doctor does this? I mean, you have
They're
extra.
they're
Who do
they're
they call in? A
they're
kidney doctor?
pediatric urologists.
Pediatric
Yeah,
urologist.
because they're surgeons.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's who you want.
That's who you want. That's who you need.
And
Um,
it's probably not that many around.
there are now. There's far more than you would think.
Okay.
Still not that many.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In 2010, you founded Courage to Shine. Tell us about that.
yeah. Courage to Shine is it says there's two phases to this Courage to Shine. One is well, let me go back to the beginning why I founded it.
Okay.
Because I was at a conference in 2009 and there was a lot of bitter adults. And they didn't just have Exstrophy, they had a couple other things. But they were very bitter. And I go, I cannot help them. You know, they're pretty much out of it. However, I'm going to stop it from ever happening again. And I'm going to find these real role models that we can do articles on, and then we can give an award at our national conference and they'll do a speech that will have it done. So we have a place on the website. We do about one article. I try to do one article a week, but it may be like twice a month. But and we had the problem with the pandemic course, it was lower.
Yeah.
But so we're doing like, let's say, two a month. And these are perfect role models for today's kids. They're they we have it's mostly extrophy. However, I've been having cases of dealing with every diseases. They will, as long as they were sick when they were younger, and they grew up becoming a real true role model. And what I mean by role model, I mean someone who gets their butt out and go to work.
Yeah.
Someone's just working and doing that kind of stuff. There are role models. So, and because I did that, and then on the flip side, we have the award ceremony, and it's just basically a place we invite someone to come speak.
Okay.
Because someone who you wouldn't get on the normal circuit, speaking.
Yeah.
Someone that's very interesting. The last person I had in 2019, we did it, was a young lady from San Diego who had who had colloquial exstrophy, which was a more severe exstrophy with the involved her intestines and everything. And then at age 3, she came down with um, uh, leukemia. So she had double um, double places she had to overcome her diseases. However, it's a great video. I even put a video up online. It's a great video to watch because these individuals they become role models for the next generation for the kids, and then on the flip side, they become role models for their parents.
Yeah.
And there
I understand that.
there isn't a month. There's a month that goes by, I get an email from everywhere in the world because just because they go thanking me for putting these articles up. And what I do is I try to let the patient write the article. because I'm not going to be editing their issues.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's their story.
Right.
Their stories can be told the way they want it to be told.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'll give them some guidance, of course, but that's just amazing. So I've been trying to do that. Plus, I have them do if there's no video that they have that's in storage somewhere, I have them do a 5-minute video and tell them real short what they're like. And because people, they find it anywhere. They find a video, they'll find it on
Yeah.
their articles, and they all get revert back, and they can actually see it. I wish I could actually get the front page done right. I don't have the time for that.
Well, 2014 arrives. Tell us what happened to you.
Yeah. 2014 was a good year. It starts with a good year because I was working with Jamie's dream team, just so you know, and we did dreams around the world. We actually did a wedding in Florida in 12 days for a woman dying of cancer.
Wow.
And this is all it was all coming up in February, but in April of 2014, I actually came down and had a stroke. And that was it changed my whole life. And the only thing is before the stroke, I could speak off the cuff without any notes, without well, this would be fun if we were doing then. Now I just go to catchwords and things like that and the speech. But however, if that was the only thing I had that was just my speech, it's it's far better to go through it than I have. But it also opens your eyes to different things. Now, when I go to speak, I always throw this in. I go, look, you have, you remember your kids can always have another health problem. It's not limited to just the extrophy.
Right.
And and I keep telling them, but it's because I was burning the candle at both ends at the time.
Yeah,
And
then that can happen for sure.
yeah, and it's just my blood pressure went up and my and became diabetic at the same time.
Yep.
However, all those numbers are controlled now, so I don't have to. Not that I don't worry about it, but
Yeah, you're
I'm
concerned, but
not I'm not
take care of
taking
it.
part of it. Yeah.
Tell us how you created hope for yourself facing your medical challenges. Uh, how did you create that hope?
I don't know. I really don't. You know, the truth is I've always been a positive person. I think
Right.
that's part of it. That's part of the key. Um, and it just became natural. You know, it's just if you're not positive on what you've been through or what you're dealing with or actually meeting people, then you won't be positive on being able to be successful. Being successful in life is being positive.
Yeah, we
And
preach that a lot.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I think in the long run, that's just the more important than anything else.
For those out there facing all sorts of life challenges, what can you tell them out there listening to this?
I think that if they're listening to this, they've actually made the first because they're looking for other help,
Right.
and I think that's a key. And it's not just with your show, um, it's everything all together. They can look at and get help but or even write someone on the show. You know, they could always write me a Courage to Shine, um, and do something like that. It's just because when you look into to becoming trying to overcome your diseases, the first step is actually knowing that there's a problem because you have to overcome. Now, that's not meaning if someone watch your show, they haven't already overcome. But the beginning is if they hear this, they're on the road to overcoming and actually they'll become a real true role model in the long run. So if you go back of that, my wife, and just so you know, 5 years ago, she had a cardiac arrest, and she was 10 feet from the emergency room at Children's
Wow.
Hospital because she was working in child life and she was 10 feet away, and the people saved her life. And I'm telling her, I says, you need to go out and actually speak to these people, speak to other people that have actually overcome, because you know how lucky you are.
Yeah.
If it happened when you were driving to work, she wouldn't have made it. If it happened anywhere else, she wouldn't have made it.
Well, I
So
always say everybody's
yeah,
got a purpose on this
yeah,
earth, and
exactly.
she had a miracle.
Oh,
That
that
was a
was a
miracle.
miracle. That was a
Yeah.
miracle. Yeah,
Right.
I
Right.
agree.
Did she take your advice?
Oh, she's still thinking about it. I'm like, I'll go do it. I mean, she's talked to some famous people that's been through it,
Yeah.
but it's just, now's the time for you to actually start talking about it.
Yeah.
And it's the same reasoning.
Well, hopefully she'll get there.
Yeah, yeah.
Tom, how can people contact you?
They can contact me by going to Courage to Shine, or or my email at tom at bladderexstrophy.com. That actually is the easiest one to remember. Tom at bladderexstrophy.com.
Okay, and Courage to Shine, is that like couragetosshine.com or?
No, it's courage to shine.org.
Okay, we'll put that in the podcast notes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then people will know how to get a hold of you.
Yeah.
I want to thank you, Tom, for being on the podcast here and educating us on this topic, and sharing your story with us. It's very inspiring, and I wish you all the best going forward. So thank you once again for being on. Comments and suggestions for the podcast, you can email me at itsawrapwithrap@gmail.com. Our website is itsawrapwithrap.com. All the episodes are on there. Our Facebook group, It's a Rap with Rap, and our Instagram group is It's a Rap with Rap Podcast. All the episodes are on YouTube. It's a Rap with Rap, the podcast uncut. And I want to thank everyone for listening. Everybody, please stay safe. And for now, it's a wrap.